Welcome to the Deucecast Extra. We are back. We took a week off for the holidays. A lot of turkey eating, a lot of family and stuff. And so
I
we
just
wanted
played
to
Pinochle.
give, we just wanted to give. You played Pinochle? Is that what you
Mhm,
said?
mhm.
What is Pinochle?
It's a card game.
Card game?
Mhm.
I don't know if I've ever played
It's with a special
Pinochle.
deck. It's
Okay.
ace 10, king, queen, jack 9. 10 is higher than king and below,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's doubled. So there's 2 of each. So
Interesting.
there's yeah.
What is up, Sup, Ash? That's Garrison,
Supash.
guys. That's Garrison.
Supash.
So yeah, look, this is it. It's me and Roth are the last men standing. Um, Dr. Earl completely bailed. He is no Yellowstone fan. No, Brian, this is not a Doctor Who
What do
recap.
we look like, nerds?
Andrew, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. We're still Yellowstone diehards over here, Jacob and I. And so yeah, I know I'm not wearing the hat, but I've got the hat. Mine's a little bit more yellow than yours. You look like you've been wearing yours
Maybe it could be the lighting.
different.
I've
Could
been
be the
wearing it a
lighting.
little bit, yeah.
Yeah, could be the lighting. So we're gonna watch this show, Lawman, Bass Reeves. Why is it called Lawman? Taylor Sheridan doesn't like to leave money on the table.
No, yeah, not lawman, lawmen.
Lawmen, right? Sorry, Lawmen, Bass Reeves. Because his idea is to probably do more of this series of lawmen and have like different people, maybe like Lawman Wyatt Earp or Lawman, like just whatever. Because Taylor Sheridan does not. He likes to leave all opportunities to make as many shows as possible. Now, is this truly in the Yellowstone verse? That's a good question. So in 1883, and this is like if we were a professional show, this is where I would drop a clip of when
Mm.
Bass Reeves was mentioned in 1883, which was an interesting thing to me at the time because the Yellowstone verse is fictional. Sure, like maybe like they cover certain areas of time and different things happening that were happening in real life, but all the characters are fictional. And then all of a sudden in 1883 they drop the name Bass Reeves. That's a real guy. That's a person in history. And so that was interesting right then and there. And so immediately pretty much after that there's a rumor that there's going to be a Bass Reeves show, and that sure, it's sort of kind of tied into the Yellowstone verse just because his name was dropped. That's about it. I don't know that you're going to hear the name Dutton ever mentioned in
No.
Bass Reeves. I don't think they're going to go that far. But this is actually a prequel then to 1883, right?
Yeah, I kind of view this as like historical fiction as well as
Yeah.
like 1883, 1923. So like I also think that like especially in 1883, 1923,
Mm-hmm.
the Duttons aren't going to do anything that like changes the course of history in those shows, you
Right.
know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like they're
Yeah.
pretty inconsequential players overall.
Yeah.
Um this one I think is still going to be historical fiction type of deal. I think we'll get
Yeah.
into it on like there's some real people in this show, Bass
Mm-hmm.
Reeves included,
Of
but it's
course.
based on a couple of different books, if I'm correct. I think.
Yeah, and I think in the opening credits they mention the book that it's
Yeah,
based on or
yeah. I
something.
think
Which
there's two different ones actually.
oh, okay,
Um,
interesting. Okay,
but those books are also not like historical documents. They're like
sure.
I think some of those are like not like 100% true also. So like
Hmm.
I think there's going to be some leeway and some whatnot. We were talking before the show just to give
Yeah.
a little bit of historical context.
Yes.
The shootout at the OK Corral was in 1881. So
There
we're
you
in
go.
the same time frame.
Sort of
We
the same. Yeah. Yeah.
start out in 1762. The Civil War ends in 17 or I'm sorry. We start out in 1862. The
Hmm.
Civil War ends in 1865.
Hmm.
So and yeah, we're at like 1880 something, 1879 something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Us too, Brian. No, I'd heard of. I
Yeah,
think I had actually heard of Bass Reeves. Like I don't know when or where,
yeah.
but yeah, he was a real person. Yeah. But the cast, I mean, I think the first thing we need to do is mention this cast, because the cast is really stacked, and
Yeah.
that's just because I think people just want to work on Taylor Sheridan shows. Executive producer and star David Oyelowo. I'm gonna always have a hard time pronouncing that guy's name.
Agent
Uh,
Callus.
yeah, he voiced Agent Callus, exactly. So there's your Star Wars connection. But he is Bass Reeves. He's the titular character, Bass Reeves. Some of the other like kind of big names in it are names you've probably heard of. Barry Pepper. He plays a character named Esau Pierce. Dennis Quaid plays Cheryl Lynn, which we did a little research. Not a real person, but maybe based upon like characteristics of a sheriff around that time, or a lawman around that time. Then you've got Donald Sutherland, Judge Parker, who we found out was a real person.
Yes, he is Isaac Charles Parker, also known as Hanging Judge Parker. He was an American politician and jurist. He served as a United States representative from Missouri. He was appointed as the first United States District Judge of the United States District Court for the Western District of Arkansas, which also had jurisdiction over Indian Territory. Parker became
Crazy.
known as the hanging judge of the American Old West because he sentenced numerous convicts to death. In 21 years on the federal bench, Judge Parker tried 13,490 cases. In more than 8,500 of these cases, the defendant either pleaded guilty or was convicted at trial. Parker sentenced 160 people to death, 79 were executed. The other 81 either died while incarcerated, were pardoned, or had their sentences commuted.
Holy
That was
cow.
all off the dome. I did not read that off of Wikipedia.
Right. And then in part one, the way they're breaking this down is we're going to do part 1 through 5. Now, we're probably just going to hit the high points of each of these episodes. We're probably not going to like go in detail of every single thing, but we're doing basically the first half of the season now, and then each Tuesday we'll do, the subsequent episodes. But Shea Wiggum, who we just recently saw in Dead Reckoning Part 1, which we should remove the part 1 since part 2 is not even going to be called Dead Reckoning anymore. But Shea Wiggum played a character named George Reeves, who
would go on to, of course, play Superman.
Of course, exactly. Going George Reeves. We tried to look up, maybe probably not a real guy.
No,
But
George Reeves is a real guy.
George Reeves was
Yes,
a real guy.
George Robertson Reeves was a former Speaker of the House of the state of Texas and a colonel in the Confederate States 11th Texas Cavalry Regiment during the American Civil War. He also served as a pioneering member of Grayson County, Texas, in which he also served as sheriff and tax collector. Reeves was the slave owner of Bass Reeves before he escaped and became a lawman.
Wow. Okay, that's awesome that he got to play a real character. What's crazy is I'm just finding out that his wife, Rachel Reeves, was played by David Oyelowo's real life wife, Jessica Oyelowo.
Oh.
Yeah. I did not know that she was an actress, first of all, and did not know that that David was married to Jessica. So that's cool that she's in the show. So this is a family affair for David. He had her in there, and that's pretty much it so far.
Oh,
As
she's
like,
also an executive producer on the show.
okay, well that makes sense. So they're executive producing together. That's cool. I like that. So yeah, this definitely to me has the Yellowstone vibe. It's gritty, in the sense that it's just super gritty. They don't shy away from violence. There's some super violent stuff in it. It's on Paramount Plus, so they can pretty much do whatever they want to from a violence standpoint. Taylor Sheridan has never shied away from that type of stuff. So when you see somebody get bludgeoned, you see somebody get bludgeoned. Like, it's brutal. There was one shot of one of the captors got like his head caved in or something. Like, it was pretty nasty. So it's definitely got the vibe still. It feels like it should be in the Yellowstone verse, but technically there's articles that came out like in October where the showrunner was like, no, we really are not. We're like, maybe I would describe this like from a Star Wars standpoint as the Freemaker adventures, where it's like canon adjacent, like things in the Lego Freemakers of adventures were canon, but maybe the characters were just adjacent to canon, like stuff that happened. Like, they always said that show was canon adjacent, which I thought was the stupidest term. Like, I hate the idea of that, but it feels like Bass Reeves is kind of like that from a standpoint as it's canon in the sense that some of these characters are based on real people, but not canon in the sense that you're ever going to hear the name Dutton mentioned or anything
Mhm.
about like the Duttons in Montana. You'll like never hear anything like that or whatever. So I don't know.
So, like, here's
Yeah.
another example of,
Yeah.
a character that's not a real person, but is
Hmm.
largely based on one is Esau. Um,
Yeah. 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 Played by Barry Pepper.
yep. Esau's group, First Cherokee Mounted Rifles, is an actual regiment that fought for the South. The regiment was based in Fort Wayne, which is located in present day Oklahoma. And yeah, so like their main leader was Brigadier General Stan Waddy.
Mm, okay.
Um, but so like that type of deal where people are like, if they're not real people, they're
Hmm.
probably an amalgamation. That's not the word. A combination,
Amalgamation.
amalgamation. There we go. I
Yeah.
was
Yeah. Yeah.
missing a letter.
That's okay.
Of that type of deal, or
Yeah.
they're a character that in Sheridan's mind represents
Sure.
a group of people.
Yeah. I mean, and Sheridan, I mean, just to be kind of frank about like from a Native American standpoint, I think that recently there's been in the news, Killers of the Flower Moon.
Mhm.
And that actress that was in that kind of derided like the depiction of Native Americans in all these Sheridan shows or whatever. Like she said that the uber violence of the Sheridan shows is not necessarily the truth or whatever. And I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I mean, I
Yeah, I
think
mean,
he
she's wrong.
I think she
Um,
is wrong because I think Sheridan.
she's
I
right
don't.
that, like, the natives during Killers of the Flower Moon weren't like that because they were all on, like,
They were all
reservations, and
super wealthy.
that was,
In
like,
all
40,
honesty,
50 years after this.
yeah,
Sure, not every single tribe was super violent, but, like,
right,
Cherokee, like, lots of them were
yeah,
very violent.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I don't know that like Sheridan would ever say that he is a historian or whatever. Like I don't. He's making these shows like for just good drama. Like he's not trying to be the History Channel or whatever. He knows what works from the standpoint of a television show, and he knows what people like, and he has for the most part done a good job. I mean, I think Bass Reeves, if I were to rank the Sheridan shows, and I've actually watched all of them,
Oh, wow.
like even outside of the Yellowstone verse, I've like kept track of anything Sheridan has done since he came over to Paramount or whatever. And I guess if I'm just ranking I would kind of rank this for me a little bit above 1923. I liked a lot of stuff in 1923. I loved like Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren. I
Mhm.
loved them together, but some of the stuff was a little unnecessary. Like Timothy Dalton's character was just ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
they took that character too far. But David Oyelowo is just such a good actor. Like anything that he does on screen, he's just great. Like if you ever want to see probably in my opinion, his best work was Selma. Like he was really good as Martin Luther King Jr. I mean, he just was freaking amazing in that movie. Um, and he just seems like I don't know, he's professional, like good actor. He's a journeyman. He's been doing it a long time. And for him to executive produce and kind of get totally behind this
Mhm.
show shows his passion for the character at least. I mean, and I think he does a good job and it's got a great cast. It's been a good show so far. I mean, we kind of the way they're doing the show is well, at least for the first like 3 episodes, we were kind of jumping back and forth in time. We were doing like a little like here is his character as he escapes his slave owner, and what he goes through in that way, and then we're jumping forward in time where he gets kind of deputized by the judge and Dennis Quaid's character.
Yeah.
Um,
I think we probably should say Chad Feehan,
yeah,
Feehan is the, I think,
he's
main
the
showrunner, and
showrunner. Yeah,
he wrote it all, or most of it. It looks like created for television by,
yeah.
um, yeah. So and I can actually feel that. It doesn't
Mhm,
feel full Sheridan to me either,
mhm, mhm.
which I think for this so far is almost a little bit of a plus.
Yeah, it's working. Yeah,
Not saying that Sheridan's like early stuff, early Yellowstone,
yeah.
very good.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
the stuff that's good in 1883, 1923, very good. But like
Mhm.
one of my biggest like compliments I can give this right now is that like there hasn't been any like modern day politics put into it yet.
Right, I totally
I
agree.
think we may
Yeah,
be
and there
moving that way
shouldn't
a little
be.
bit, but
Well, I don't think there should be, though. I
no,
mean,
there definitely shouldn't be.
yeah, it's a show from the
But
1800s. They
he
shouldn't,
does
like,
that.
infuse
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does that sometimes. I mean, hopefully they don't infuse that. I mean, it seems like they're just trying to get us from a point A to a point B in this series, like, and just tell, like, a specific story.
Mhm.
I mean, we've had Esau is a character that has reoccurred a little bit more in the sense of he's a bit of an antagonist in Bass Reeves' life. So we see, I think, in part 3 where, and this was kind of a flashback to like the 1860s, where Bass was with this Native American woman and had just, I don't know if they ever got married, but it seemed like they had this relationship and there was
Yeah,
a
but
son there.
it wasn't even see, I don't know if I don't know if they had, like, a working relationship of, like,
Right.
"You be the father figure to this kid and help us
Right.
run this ranch/homestead," slash homestead, whatever you wanna call it.
Yeah, because the husband was
Um,
dead or whatever.
yep,
Yeah.
and she was a Seminole, right? Is that what
I
they
think
said?
so. Yeah, she was a Seminole. Yeah. And so this was apparently a somewhat peaceful part of the United States. There wasn't much um well, this is that was after the Civil War had just ended, I guess, but there were still arrests
Well,
happening.
no, the Civil War hadn't ended yet.
Oh no, yeah, that's right, because this was
Technically, like, when
1860s.
he
Yeah,
showed
yeah,
up, yeah,
okay.
'cause
Yeah,
he
yeah.
escaped, so, um, I guess we can do a little bit more history
Yeah,
too if you want.
let's do it.
Um, so, Black people fought for both sides,
Mhm.
during the Civil War, and the Union, they were, not necessarily fully conscripted, and, they weren't slaves in the Union, obviously, for the South, they were.
Mhm.
We see some of that at the beginning. Um, George Reeves gets sent home because he's, questioning the main general's kind of, leadership,
Moto, yeah,
and
leadership, yeah.
that's when so he gets sent home in, like, I think they said, like, 1863 or so?
Mhm,
Something
mhm.
like that.
Yep.
The Civil War started in 1861, by the way.
Yeah.
Um, and that's when Reeves escapes. Reeves is toying with him, and he beats him, and he runs off, and he runs to Indian Territory, and that's where he meets the Seminole girl.
Mhm.
And seemingly for 2 plus years, because it seemed like the Civil War had been over for quite some time,
Right.
um, they run into these Civil War, uh, Confederate captives,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh,
Prisoners.
you don't
Yeah.
even know that you're, like, actually a free man now."
Right.
And I
Right.
believe this is in Oklahoma, is about where they're at,
Yeah,
and
that would
so
make sense.
there wasn't that much Civil War fighting in that part of
Mhm.
the country.
Mhm.
So it would make sense that that's a pretty good place for him to hide and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, so I guess that's kind of where we like first meet Esau.
Well, no, I mean, the first time we see Esau is he comes during a battle, I think, and rides up on his horse with his Comanche troops that he's with. Like he's with these Indian troops at the very, I think it's like part 1, the Confederacy and the Union are fighting. He
Wait,
comes
was that
in.
Esau? Or was that Shea Wiggum?
That was Esau. He
When
came in and fought a
Bass
little
Reeves
bit.
and the guy are like running down the cannons.
Yeah.
Okay,
Esau's
is my Wi-Fi
Seminole
going out?
troops. No, mine is.
Okay,
It's mine.
okay.
Dude, any internet problems are always on my end. Just know that. That's a
Well,
given,
I'm over like just about to 2 years on my charter, like being a member of Charter again, Charter Spectrum
right?
Internet. So like that's about
Right.
the time that they're like, okay, we've got you locked into this contract. We're just gonna like ruin your internet
Right.
now
No,
and
dude,
charge
my
you double the price.
it's always
Okay.
my internet.
So
Yeah,
see,
don't you worry.
I've been confused. I thought that was Shea Wiggum this whole time. That him and like I thought that was like them kind of bonding, and that's part of the reason why he was going to set him free. Okay, but okay that leads to um
Yeah.
this guy
So
going to
the
be
second
much
time
more
they
of.
meet,
Oh, sorry, my
yeah,
headphones went
yeah.
out.
No, no. Oh, your headphones went out now.
Yes,
No,
I was fidgeting and I pulled the cord out.
no. So the second time they meet, and this being Esau Pierce, so Barry Pepper's character, is when he's a prisoner. Esau's a prisoner and escapes, and that's when the tragedy of this boy that Bass had sort of taken care of gets killed. He gets
Yes.
killed. The boy does, and then most recently at the very end of part 5, they do the zoom in because Esau's back, and Bass and him are locking eyes. So we're going to see what happens from that part. That's kind of the cliffhanger that ends on that particular episode. So that's going to be an antagonist, I think, for
Yep, I do
Bass. I
too.
don't think.
And
Yeah,
he had a Texas Ranger badge on, so that's the
right.
guy that Bass Reeves is turning this guy over to, which
Yep,
is very
exactly.
intriguing.
So things are going to get interesting there because you've got two different lawmen in a different way, and Texas
Yep.
Rangers, they always seem like they are well respected in any show like this, like or have like this
Yeah.
um higher position than any other law person. And so it'll be interesting to see what goes down with that. I think that's a good, and Barry Pepper's really good at playing slimy bad guys. I like him as an actor quite a bit. We don't get to see him enough, so I'm glad that he's doing something now. So yeah, I mean, I've really liked the show. So there's kind of like the B story, I think, of the romance or the relationship between Bass and his wife in the show, and how he's obviously gone a lot now because he's doing all these different jobs in a way, because he was voluntold in a way, I would think, to be a
But
marshal,
also
right?
his wife pushed him into it too.
Sure. No, she did. I mean,
Mhm.
that's one thing that they show in this series, that Bass Reeves is like the best gunfighter ever. Um,
Mhm.
he's good with any type of like pistol, shotgun. Like the dude just
And even when he
knows
was
what
a
he's doing.
slave, like when he's
Right. Yeah.
escaping and he just like
Yeah.
mows those 3 guys down in like
Right.
5
Right.
seconds. You're like,
Yeah.
"Okay, that's a
Yeah.
bold
Yeah.
strategy for the slave owner to like let his slaves like have that power over a gun."
Right. Yeah.
So, I don't
So
know.
I mean, that's the that's I love like the hero being super good shot.
Mhm.
I'm fine with it, but it's just like, okay, we get it. He never misses. He's he's the hero of the series and he never misses. I get it, whatever. But he's gone a lot, and it seems like there's some growing issues in the marriage a little bit because he's gone so much. She is getting kind of tired of him having to go and be gone for long periods of time. So they've introduced this traveling preacher character,
Mhm.
and I'm trying to understand what the end game with this particular character is, and maybe this is what you were referring to earlier about the potential of real world politics maybe seeping into the show a bit, just because this guy has this specific idea about the independence that should occur for maybe people of color at that time. I don't know if, because he
Yeah.
even like he points her out as being like the only landowner. So apparently Bass and her are in this community that they live in, are the only black people that own land at the time. And so this preacher kind of calls her out on that in a way. Um, in the service that and I don't know if he's a preacher, maybe he just happened to be at that church speaking to everyone, but he comes across as
Yeah.
a traveling preacher,
Yeah,
but I don't
whether
know if
he's a preacher or not, he's
yeah,
definitely
he's like
using that to entice people. Right?
using the pulpit to entice people.
He's
Yeah.
trying to start up this town of Eden in Indian
Right.
territory.
Right.
Um I do
And I
not
can't
care
like
for what's her face. Esme? Yeah,
the
Esme.
friend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the friend, his wife,
Mhm.
kind of an obnoxious character. But
Oh, his
and
wife or her friend
yes.
or the
No,
woman that she knew.
the preacher's wife, the one that she knew,
Right. Okay.
her friend. Yeah.
Like from her past, she knew that
Yep.
character from her past.
Yep. I
Yeah. I
think
mean,
they were
there's
slaves
something,
together is what I think.
something, I think so. Yeah. There's something doesn't feel right about that guy. Like he feels like a traveling salesman, like a snake oil
Mhm.
salesman almost in a
Mhm.
way. And it feels as if he's got ulterior motives, and maybe gonna take advantage of Bass being away. Like, I just get this weird vibe from that guy that he is manipulating Bass's wife in a way to like come on his side and agree with him about his tactics of creating this community or whatever. But I'm not sure what the end game. That's like a C level part of the series, like a C storyline almost, or maybe a
Mhm.
B storyline, I guess. And so it's interesting. I don't know, exactly what they're going to be doing with that. Um, we get a bit of a preview of episode or part 6, at the end of part 5, and they're having dinner together. So we're going to get to see more of this guy. So it'll be, yeah, I'm enjoying the series quite a bit, more than I thought I would. And it may just be because I was longing for some Taylor Sheridan show because it had been a
Mhm.
while. I watched that Zoe Saldana show that
Mm.
had nothing to do with Yellowstone, where she was special forces or whatever. And man, it was good, but it was really like violent, like more violent
Mm.
than I was anticipating. But I was wanting to come back to the Yellowstone verse, and this is kind of the closest we're going to get right now because of all the weird Kevin Costner stuff going on. Apparently, he's now not going to be at all in part 2 of season 5. Is the most recent thing I read, is that he's not coming back at all now. So, which is crazy. Like that relationship between Taylor Sheridan and Kevin Costner devolved quickly,
Yeah, very fast. Very
and
fast. I
like
and I
for
really think it's because, like, I feel like Kevin Costner's life got, like,
oh yeah,
devolved a little bit with,
oh,
like,
yeah, his whole
divorce
life
and
devolved.
yeah.
Yeah, he got
Yeah.
divorced, and he's massive ego. As much as I like
Mhm.
Kevin Costner as an actor and a director, like, from a creative standpoint, he seems like he's got that side that's really good, but maybe from a real life standpoint, outside of the creative side of him, he seems like probably a douchebag.
Yeah,
And
that's
but
totally
Taylor
fair.
Sheridan also has a huge ego too.
Yes.
So when you
Yes.
get two alpha males butting heads, it just devolves to a point where he's not going to come back for part 2. So
Costner's a bit of a douche, and Sheridan's a bit of a,
he's just a
how's
hard ass. I mean,
yeah, and, like, arrogant.
yeah.
Arrogant, I think, is a good word to
And
describe
and
Sheridan.
look, I mean, he's kind of got Paramount has paid that guy so much money to make all these shows.
Mhm.
And they've been pretty successful. You never really know, like on Paramount, any streaming
I
show.
mean, in terms of non-Netflix streaming shows, it's pretty darn successful, I think.
Oh, I think so too.
Um, it's
And
like, even if you're just, like, not talking about, like, viewership, like, the quality of them
right,
is outstanding.
yeah.
Like, production value and all that type of stuff, so they're definitely dumping
Exactly.
money into it.
Yeah, they're definitely getting a lot
Um
of money. And apparently, like, so during the strikes, they aired like season 1 on 2 on
Mhm,
CBS proper, like actual
mhm.
broadcast television, obviously heavily edited, but they did really well. Like, get a lot of viewers, and so there's interest still, even though it's been so long since season 5 part
Yeah,
1 ended. There's still a lot of interest in that series.
it
Um,
their whole marketing scheme with that was very interesting because they weren't like, we're gonna re-show this show. Like, you
Right.
can watch it over here, but like
Mhm.
this is like they didn't like make any mention that it was Yellowstone season 1 on
Right.
CBS right after football, and you're
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
whoa.
Yeah, exactly. And look, I mean, those first 2 seasons are the best. I mean,
Hmm.
that is what captures people and kept people watching. I think the series devolved a bit. I mean, over the seasons, it's not as good as it was when it first came on, but it's still good enough. It's like soap opera for dudes,
Hmm.
basically. It's still good enough where we'll finish the series, obviously, and then see what happens from there. There's been so many rumors about Matthew McConaughey coming on in a different series altogether, but still connected to the
2024 is what they're gonna call that, right?
yeah, that's the
That's
rumor.
crazy.
It's dumb. I mean, they've got to do better than that with the titles, but I think they're just wanting to. That's a cute dog. I think they're just wanting to, I don't know, keep people that have watched from the beginning
Hmm.
hooked with the year thing. It's dumb to call it 2024 though. I mean, they should call it. They're afraid to call it Yellowstone because people will expect it to be all about the Duttons, and they're going to have to get away from that. I mean, I guess after part 5 or part
I
2 is over.
Are you sure? Isn't he gonna be a Dutton?
Oh, McConaughey's character? I didn't gather that.
Okay.
Like if he
See, I
is, he'd be
pictured
like a
him,
long lost brother or
yeah,
something.
being
I don't
some
know.
sort of Dutton
Yeah,
and pretty much just replacing Costner, and
maybe.
because they're not gonna do away with Beth and Rip, like, those characters aren't going
Those are good
anywhere.
characters. Yeah. I mean, there's
I don't even
gosh,
know, like, that's not even a comment on, like, the quality of the characters, it's a comment on the
yeah.
popularity of the characters and how much
Right,
money
right,
they
right.
make from merchandise and stuff.
Sure, sure, sure. Yeah, no, they can't. I mean, I think it would be dumb of them to get away from the Yellowstone name, like calling the series Yellowstone.
Yes.
If they're just going to call it 2020, I guess they could do 2024 a Yellowstone series or something
Or,
like that. Or I don't
I
know what
know
they would
when
do.
1883 was first, it was Yellowstone 1883.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
that
When it first
quickly
came out.
changed to Y 1883, and then
Right.
Y 1923. They should
1923. Yeah.
the studios are way too concerned with branding, whether it be Lucasfilm and Star Wars wanting to drop the numbers from the sequel
Well,
trilogy.
even Mission Impossible. I
Yes,
mean, the dead
yes,
like we don't want to call it Dead Reckoning Part 2. We want to call it something else. And I'm like, what the heck? Just call it Dead Reckoning Part 2. It doesn't
yeah,
matter. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. They're too concerned with all of it. I mean, the name of stuff. They just don't need to drop the Yellowstone name, though. I mean, especially if there's going to be at least one Dutton in that McConaughey series.
Mhm.
Um, just call it Yellowstone. Don't call
No,
it
that's a strong
you
brand.
always have to rub that in my
It's a
face
strong
that you
brand.
got that at the yes, you went to the
Mhm.
AMC and they were giving those out. I didn't get crap at the
That's
AMC
'cause I
screening.
stayed for Tulsa King and you
You did
didn't.
stay for Tulsa King. That was
Look, I drove
maybe
an
if
hour
I
and a
had
half. I
stayed
spent the night in Denver the night before. I was gonna stay for Tulsa King.
maybe if I had stayed for Tulsa King, I would have gotten one of those stupid cups. But now they're on eBay for like $500 and I'll never I don't
Are
know
they
if they're that
really?
much.
It's
No.
okay.
I'm sure they're on eBay, but they're not $500. I just pulled that number out.
I'm gonna have to take a look on eBay because I will
No,
sell this thing.
I'm sure they're on eBay. I mean, in
It is
any of those
the only cup I use, and
it's the it's the
well, it's not the only. It's the only. I use it for water, and
right,
it is
right.
my water cup. And I'll be
Yeah,
honest, I haven't washed this thing in some time
that's great.
because it's just
That's
water.
good. Yeah, it's just water. You don't need to wash chemical or all the bacteria that builds. I mean, that's yeah, you don't need to wash. It's all good. Oh gosh, we so many tangents. As always happens on Extra. Bass Reeves though. I mean, if I was gonna rank it, I'd give it like a solid like 7 out of 10, maybe. Like I think it's a good show. Um, I really like David Oyelowo a lot.
Mhm.
Like I, I'll pretty much watch anything that guy does. I mean, he's a really good actor, and he's bringing his A game. He's not phoning in this performance at all.
No, it's got a 7.8 out of 10 on IMDb.
And that's
Overall,
fair. That seems
yeah.
fair. Yeah.
First episode an 8.1, second
Yeah.
8.0, 7.8, 7.5, and this most recent one an 8.3.
Yeah. I mean, it's not yeah, and part 5 was good. It's not like a 10 out of 10 show. It's not
No.
like the best show you're going to watch, but I mean, I think it's better than 1923 aspects of 1923. I think it's better than, I mean, season 5 of Yellowstone was weak. I mean, I think it's
Mhm.
kind of better than what we've gotten so far. I mean, it's good. So we'll see how far they go with it. It's a 10-part series, so it's going to be 10 episodes total. So we'll of course finish it out. I mean,
Is it 10 parts?
I think so. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's only 8.
On IMDb, they've only
Oh,
got
it's
8
8. You're
episodes.
right.
Okay.
It's only you're right. It's only 8. So we'll definitely
Can we talk really quickly about,
yeah.
the weird Mexican people they stayed with?
Yeah, what was up with that? Like they wanted to drug them
And then
with ayahuasca or something? I don't know what was
yeah,
going
like,
on. It was weird.
um, his little secondhand man Indian guy,
Yeah, I like that character.
what's his name?
The
Petey?
the
Billy?
character's name
Bill?
is
Billy Crow.
Billy
Billy
Crow.
Crow.
Yeah, it's a good character.
Like, stopped them from getting drugged, and then
Right.
Oelio was having, like, hallucinations still?
Because he took a
Like
sip. He took
oh,
that
he did
one
take a
little
sip.
sip. He took that one little sip before you had the bad dates scene.
Okay.
That's what it
Yep,
reminded me
yep,
of,
yep,
like,
yep.
except he didn't catch it. He did
Bad dates.
bad dates. He took, one little sip before Billy
Okay.
Crow was smelling it, and I guess from, I don't know, in his Native American background, he smelled something funky in the drink,
Well, he was
and
I think he saw the mushrooms. I think they were like shrooms.
yeah, it was I didn't understand why they would let them into their home and then try and I guess they were gonna rob them. I don't know if that stuff was gonna kill them, but they were gonna
Yeah, I
rob them
don't know.
maybe.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
I didn't
I'm very
understand.
confused by all of it.
Yeah, it was kinda weird. I mean, maybe it's just showing don't trust anyone. I mean, I don't know.
Like, really, I feel like it was just a device to get Oelio and the captured prisoner guy who was a former slave who killed his former master,
Right.
like, together to tell that story.
Oh, that guy, and let's talk about that guy too, because I've seen him in other stuff. I can't remember the actor's name. I'm gonna scroll down on IMDb until I can find it though. Because he was in he's a character actor that's
Was
been
he
in a lot of stuff.
Ramsey? Rob
Yeah.
Morgan?
Oh, I forgot Garrett Hedlund was in one episode as well of this series. He got he got killed pretty quick, but he was in one episode. And Mo Brings Plenty was in one episode.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
he
didn't know
was.
that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, he was.
from Yellowstone?
Yeah, from Yellowstone. Yeah, he was in one episode also. Um, Gosh, I'm having to scroll pretty far down, and I'm not seeing this particular actor in the cast, but I definitely recognize that actor. He's been in a bunch of stuff before, and I don't know why he would be so far down the cast list like this, but
Is it
all right.
is it Rob Morgan?
I think it is Rob Morgan. Maybe I just went too far.
Mudbound, Don't Look Up, Bowl.
Yeah, that's him. That's
Okay.
him. Yep, that's him. He's
Ramsey?
good. Yeah, Ramsey.
Ramsey's his character's name? Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, he's Officer Powell in Stranger Things.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, now I kinda recognize him more.
You recognize him? Yeah.
Yep, yep.
He's good too. I like him, anytime that I've seen him, he's
Yeah, I
been
mean, like,
good.
their conversation was really good. Like, that was, like, some, like, of the that's some great acting, like, top tier, like,
Yeah. Yeah. I
put
mean,
it up against, like, most stuff.
that's the thing pretty much about all these Taylor Sheridan shows is nobody's phoning in any performances. It seems like he gets big-ish name actors. I mean,
Mhm.
sure, Dennis Quaid is probably not like movie star quality level anymore.
He's pretty close.
Okay, well, yeah, I
I
guess.
mean, he is.
He could not he could not carry a film on his own anymore though. Like
No.
you couldn't put a Dennis Quaid movie in theaters and expect him to carry it or whatever.
No, I mean, yeah. It would have to be the movie that carries it, like, if it's a I'm trying to think of how to say this. If it's a movie like Sound of Freedom, I think
Yeah,
he's the combination of the subject matter and not
right,
like that
right.
specific subject matter, but that
Sure.
that
Yeah,
audience. going and Dennis
faith-based.
Quaid, that
Yeah.
combo would be
Yeah.
big enough to. But yeah, if he's just in like generic action movie, old guy action movie, it's not gonna.
Yeah, like he's been doing a lot of those faith-based
Yeah.
movies right now. He's in some that went direct to Amazon Prime, I think, where he plays a pilot. Can't remember the
Yeah.
name of it,
Is
but it
is his
came out this
Ronald
year.
Reagan movie ever gonna come out?
Did he film that already?
Yeah, it's in post-production. It's supposed to come out this year, allegedly.
Oh no, that ain't coming out this year. That'll be next year then. I didn't know about that. Is it a movie
Yeah,
or a
no,
miniseries?
it's a
Okay,
movie.
that's
It says
interesting. I mean,
post-production expected 2023 on IMDb.
yeah, I
See
don't think
Thomas
so.
Howell's in it, John Voight,
See, look, okay,
Kevin
so
Sorbo.
all those actors,
Oh,
Kevin
Xander
Sorbo.
Berkeley? I like Xander
Okay, so
Berkeley.
that's a movie that's not actually going to be in theaters. I'll tell you that right now.
You
There's
think?
no way. There's no way with that cast that movie's. When you said Kevin Sorbo's name,
Well, I don't think
that
he's
movie is
Kevin
not going to
Sorbo's
be in
gonna play a
theaters.
very Kevin Dillon, Nick Searcy.
Okay,
I
so
think this movie's gonna get yes, I know what you're saying, but it's gonna get a theatrical release.
maybe
I don't know the studio behind it.
sounds like something that probably is not going to get a theatrical release.
Where
But maybe, I don't know, maybe.
MJM Entertainment and Rawhide Pictures.
Okay, so Rawhide Pictures. I've seen that.
MJM seems like it's not a very big.
Yeah, that thing ain't gonna
That's
get it.
the
But hey,
okay, maybe
look,
you're right.
I'll watch it. Just because that's interesting that they're making a Ronald Reagan movie, but that thing's not getting a major theatrical release. I mean, I don't know.
This movie's been out there for like 10 years, I swear. Like the last 10 years, they're like
Yeah,
Dennis Quaid is playing Ronald Reagan, and it's just
I've heard about that a lot too as well. So, um, well, I had sent Garrison a link. I mean, I guess I didn't tell because I wanted him to be a part of this announcement that we're about to make. But
Garrison, where are you? Are you still in
yeah,
the chat?
he's probably in bed. He's probably not because you know we're not taking any more breaks. I don't even think we're taking one during the Christmas week because we're going to record on the 26th. I mean,
Yeah,
because the day after Christmas is just the day after Christmas. I mean,
it is now. I will remind you, it is still technically the Christmas season
I
till
understand.
January 6th.
I
But
understand, but I think we're going to do something on the 26th
yeah,
also. I mean,
yeah,
I'm going to be I have to work that day, so it's like to me that's a normal day.
hmm
So I understand it's still a Christmas season. Some people, yeah, there's like faith-based stuff around like that whole week, but I mean,
yeah. I mean, in the Catholic Church,
yeah,
Christmas. So we're
yeah,
in Advent right now. We are not in
yeah,
Christmas season. We're in Advent
right,
until
right, right,
like the 24th.
yeah, yeah.
And then I think Christmas goes until the Magi show up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's right. That's right. You look, that's accurate. We're still going to do something on the 26th, as far as I know, and I think, in fact, I think we're doing well. Okay, so one thing I know we already kind of announced in passing 2 weeks ago is that when we found out that What If was getting a release before the end of the year, I mean, we did season one, so sure, of course, we're going to do season two. What we did with season one is recorded it in two different parts. And so that's what we're going to do for season two also. I think we're going to do episodes 1 through 5 on the 26th, I believe, as well as an episode of Bass Reeves. And then, because I think the finale of Bass Reeves is like the 17th. So that might be the last episode of Bass Reeves that we're doing also that day. But then we're also going to do part 2 of What If the following week. Now, on the 28th, I know we're recording a lot this holiday season, but on the 28th, we've got to talk about Aquaman 2. I mean, we can't skip Aquaman 2. We've done like every other crappy DC movie. I mean, we recorded an extra, or I guess we call those roundtables on Blue Beetle. So, I mean,
hmm
we got to record a roundtable on Aquaman 2. So, we're definitely going to do that on that Thursday, the 28th, to give people at least a full week to see.
hmm
I mean, because, sometimes during the holidays, I go to the movies, around the Christmas season a
hmm
lot. That's kind of like a tradition of mine. So I don't go on Christmas Day or anything like some people do, but I'll see it for sure. Well, it comes out the week before anyways. So.
Yeah.
We're definitely seeing it on that Thursday. But the big announcement that I was hoping Garrison would be here for, but he's just, he's probably. I picture Garrison like now trying to like scramble around to like hook up his laptop and or his iPad, trying to like click the link, because I mean, we decided that we're going to do a series that I think is near and dear to Garrison. We're going to do Percy Jackson, the Disney Plus series that is coming out. I'm kind of excited about it. So Percy Jackson is a series of books, obviously, that came out kind of after my time. So
After my time as well.
yeah, so they're really like Garrison has read all of them, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, from conversations that we have had. And so when I told him that we were going to go ahead and do Percy Jackson, he was excited. So I was hoping he'd be here to tell me how excited he is, but he decided to just not show up.
I DM'd him on Twitter.
Oh wait, here he is.
Were you asleep?
Like half asleep.
Because he was listening to us talk about Bass Reeves. It put him to sleep.
Did we say your name enough that you like woke up?
I got the buzz of the message.
It's only 10:46 there. Why are you asleep?
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Because I got bad sleep last night, so I was like,
okay, sorry. I heard of all the nightmare-ish stuff that happened to y'all during Thanksgiving season, so I'm glad I'm glad everyone's on the mend over there.
Yeah.
But let's see. So from a standpoint of Percy Jackson, like, you've read the books or not?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Is
I've
it
read
a series?
all 5 books.
It's 5 books. Okay.
Mhm.
Is that a series that's continuing? Is he writing more of those? Reardon, is that the guy's name?
Yeah, so he just came out with a 6th book, Rick Riordan, Rick Riordan, whatever.
Yeah.
When I was in 6th
Reardon
grade,
was my high school football coach's name my senior year.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
Dan Reardon. Do you think
Could
he was
be
using a
related.
pseudonym for one of the two?
When I was in 6th grade, I thought his name was pronounced Riordan, but
It could be. I just threw that out
I
there.
literally don't know, man. I was in 6th grade.
Is he from Youngstown, Ohio?
I don't know where he's from. That's actually a good question.
That's where my
Probably
football
not
coach
related.
was from.
Probably
Okay.
not related.
Well, maybe. I never asked him.
So I don't know much about the series other than obviously Greek mythology is involved, and
it's very much YA.
Okay, cool.
You know, it's young adult.
Harry Potter before Harry Potter or during? When did are we concurrent?
I would say I'm not. This is.
I'm just saying, like, when
top of my
when
head,
the books came out.
When the books came out,
I would say concurrent.
These books came. Wait, no. If when did the books come out?
I would say Lightning Thief started 2005, so that's like the middle of Harry Potter, or towards the end of the books, but middle of the movies.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's cool. I mean, the YA. I mean, I'm just saying that because I think because of Harry Potter, the YA genre just like blew up. Like everybody was coming out with YA stuff.
Hunger Games.
Right. Hunger Games, Twilight. Well, Twilight is maybe a little above YA, but I mean
50 Shades.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
I have not seen the movies. I'll be honest. I did not watch
You don't need to watch them.
So that's what I was going to
tempted
ask. I was going to ask, like, do you think those movies were a good representation of the books?
So it's been a long time since I've seen them.
Right.
And I'm going to hope to do a refresher before this show comes out on the books, but or at least the first book, Lightning
maybe
Thief.
the first one. Yeah. You don't feel obligated to do that.
But I remember not liking the movie very much.
There was 2 of them, right?
So I didn't watch Sea of Monsters, which is the second movie. Now I also have to put the caveat forward that I'm not a big fan of Sea of Monsters, the book.
Okay.
I love about every book in that series except Sea of Monsters.
And is that the book that they're doing, or what? I'm sorry, I was spacing. What's Sea of Monsters?
That's the second book.
The second book.
That's the second book, and they did a movie of that too.
Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't go see the sequel because I didn't like the first movie, and I don't care for the second book. So it was kind of a I don't really care kind of moment as a kid.
Well, the
And,
full title of the series is just Percy Jackson and the
and the
Olympians.
Olympians, yeah, which is
So
the name
that's
of the
like,
book series.
yeah,
So
that's
my question is,
yeah.
if I watch those two movies, am I going to be like spoiling the series to a point that I shouldn't?
You don't
Or
need
should
to
I?
watch those. You don't need to watch them.
Is it going to help me or hurt me?
I would say hurt. Just watch what Disney wants you to watch, which is their series. No, and the thing that I liked about the creation of this series is the author was very much behind it. Like he was very much supporting it. He was excited about the casting, and as am I. I mean, I liked that kid from Shazam a lot. I think that kid, Walker Scoble, I guess is his name. He was good in Shazam, so I figure, and this is one of Lance Reddick's last performances, so we'll get to see him. I always like Lance Reddick. I mean, there's other.
See, because Zeus is, Zeus is not a character that goes away.
Yeah, so I don't know how much
he'll that role.
Yeah, exactly. And the cast is cool. Toby Stephens. The only thing I know Toby Stephens from is one of the James Bond movies. I saw him. Jason Mantzoukas is a stand-up comedian, but he's been in a lot of stuff. He's Dionysus. Megan Mullally is in it. Now, here's the one thing that I'm nervous
You think they'll
about.
use AI to bring back Rip Torn's voice for Zeus? Because he voiced him in Hercules Disney.
He worked? Yeah, exactly. The one thing that I'm nervous about is Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Oh God, I didn't know he was in this.
He's Hermes. I'm nervous about. We'll see.
That.
Now, the thing I'm super excited about though is the Edge, Adam Copeland from WWE fame is Ares. That's awesome casting for that. So I am looking forward to that.
He was in one of the best movies ever made.
Okay, wait. I need to. Which one are you talking about? Because he has not been in many movies. So what movie are you talking about? The plane one? The hijack?
Plane.
Money Plane. Yes,
Money Plane.
Right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Money Plane. Jay Duplass. This is interesting. Is Hades? That's interesting. Okay, I like that casting. So it's got a pretty good cast. Now the director, at least of the first episode, I think, is James Bobbin. He is of Flight of the Conchords fame and directed one of the Muppet movies.
He wrote Muppets Most Wanted, directed the Muppets.
Yeah. So
interesting.
I do like
the Muppets
that.
Is a very good movie.
I like the first one. The second one's but the first one's good.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he directs all the episodes, but he's attached to at least direct the first one. Well, maybe he directed the whole series. Let's see. Let me go down to episode 8 and see if his name is still on there. Oh no. Okay. So first 2 episodes. So look, I mean, it seems like a good team around the show. I'm excited about it just because I think they cast Percy well. And obviously that's what you got to get right is casting your.
I'd love for
breaking news.
Breaking news. Uh-oh.
The writer of the books and my football coach, not related.
Not related. Different spelling last name.
Yes. Reardon was my football coach. I see why you would say Riordan.
Yeah.
Oh, I just like saying Riordan better.
I think Riordan is probably correct. I just my 6th grade brain comes out every time I see the name, and I'm like, yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna do that series. I mean, because we've got. I don't want to take any more breaks. It felt weird taking a break last week. I didn't like it. I'll be honest. I was ready to do Bass Reeves part 1 through 4. I should have just done it.
Bad communication. That's my fault.
No, I mean, really, what happened is, and I'm gonna totally blame Earl. Like that was the night I found out he decided he was just going to skip the show, and I was a little bit devastated because Earl is why Extra started. Like we started with Yellowstone, me and Earl started, and then when he says he's not going to watch a Yellowstone,
Dr. Earl.
Yeah, bye, Dr. Earl.
Wally Pip your butt.
He's just like too good to watch. The lightning thief. There it is.
This is my copy from 6th grade.
That's awesome. Yeah, exactly. Earl is why we can't have nice things. He's why we missed last week. and never again. I didn't like that feeling, so we're not going to skip a week unless I'm deathly ill or something, and then we'll like skip it. But or I could just like let you run the show. I mean, that's why everybody has links now to be able to run things if I'm not here. So yeah, I'm excited about Percy Jackson. I have no background whatsoever, but I think Garrison's excited. Roth's brother is excited.
Yeah, I said to Michael before the show that I should just bring my brother over here every week and just let him sit on my computer and I'll play with the dog, because he read all these books and really likes them. He's read them multiple times.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was very into Greek mythology growing up.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So
if you were into Greek mythology growing up, Percy Jackson was perfect. I was into it as well, and I loved learning the stuff that we'd learn in history classes, which that was a part of history a little bit in middle school. I was learning some of the Greek stuff, and then going into the books and like seeing those characters interacting, and just the way that you learned about them. It was cool. God, it's been so long though. I really do need to refresh my brain on what exactly happens in the books. And
or go in blind like I am. Or just go completely blind.
There is a sequel series. I own every book to that. I've only read the first book for that one, and then I literally stopped reading them. I enjoyed it, but I don't know. The way it's set up, it was doing POVs. Every chapter was a different person's POV, and it just drove me crazy as a
Game of Thrones type of deal, right?
An eighth grader. I was like, this is annoying.
Yeah,
that's weird.
I just noticed Jessica Parker Kennedy, who was on The Flash, is playing Medusa. I don't know if you said that.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't watch enough of The Flash to recognize
she was one
her.
of the kids.
Okay, cool. Well, look, I mean, I think, from the standpoint of we needed to find a show to do between, I think Star Wars Skeleton Crew will probably be February. I bet as soon as Percy Jackson ends, they'll go into Skeleton Crew. I think that's going to be first couple months of the year. That thing's ready to go. So I think that's what we're going to get pretty quick, but we'll definitely do Percy Jackson. I think it'll be fun. If you're a Deucecast completist, you have to watch the show now so you can you can participate in extra. Oh,
Brian, I guess looking at you.
That's right, Brian, Andrew. I mean, if you're, I guess I should say Deucecast extra completist. Then you definitely have to watch Percy Jackson now because that's the show we're going to do. I'm excited to do it. I know Garrison's excited. Jacob and I will rock with it too, even though we're not as familiar with the property as Garrison is.
I just got more excited. I'm sure you already brought this up, but it did not register with me that the main kid is the one from the Adam Project.
Yeah.
But he was first. Yeah, but wasn't he first on Shazam? Or am I like wrong about that?
Not on Shazam. He's only done. He's
only
done
thought that
two
was the
things.
kid from Shazam. My bad.
No, I only know.
So he's only done this and Secret Headquarters.
I haven't seen Shazam 2, so I just assumed you were talking about some character.
No,
in Shazam
I
2,
thought he was. I thought he was the kid from. What is that kid about to do? He got cast in something big too, like a new series.
The guy that plays
Billy, the guy that plays Billy. He's going to be. Yeah. I thought he was Percy. Okay, never mind. So yeah, it's the kid from the Adam Project. I'm sorry. That was me being totally
Asher
ignorant.
Angel.
Yeah, I thought he got cast on something big as well, but maybe I'm totally wrong.
Wildfire Rescue, Lazarus, 99 Days.
No, maybe he was in the running at some point, and they went
he's
with
too old.
Maybe he's a little bit too old now. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's cool.
Yeah,
Adam Project's good. The only thing I don't like him, that kid has this high pitched voice. Maybe he's grown out of that. He had this pitch in Adam Project that was so like screechy, like when he would. I don't know. Maybe he's grown out of that now, and he'll be better.
He was a kid, Mikey.
Maybe he'll be better as Percy.
He still is a kid.
He still is kind of a kid, but he's older now. Yeah, exactly. So all right, well, we will definitely be back next week, but Roth, I gotta say, I was excited that you watched Henry V, and I think you guys were fair. I do recall it being very difficult to follow as well.
Okay.
If you had not like any background at all with Shakespeare, then yeah. I can see how like it's
my background with Shakespeare was in high school, and I was not a good student in high school. I was
I
more
wasn't
focused on
either.
fun.
I barely made it out of high school.
Yeah, that was a fun. I was very surprised with Tate and especially Sage's reaction to the movie. I thought Sage was going to hate it and like
No,
leave the podcast. They were very fair.
I think all of y'all were really fair with it. The production quality was awesome from that being Kenneth Branagh's first like directorial debut. I mean, I'm sure he had directed some like something before.
I don't think so. It didn't
maybe
look
like
it on
a
IMDb.
short film or something. I don't know. Maybe not. Like
maybe
he
something in
dove
college or something.
Yeah, like yeah. But
I love Kenneth Branagh. Like ever since
he's solid.
Oh my gosh, Belfast.
Like,
I want to go watch everything that he's ever done. I just like him as a person. And
he's a good actor. He did a lot of good work in the 80s and 90s. But just like any working actor, I mean, he's got some duds in there every once in a while. But like, I think with the Shakespeare thing, Hamlet's really good. Midsummer's Night's Dream is really good. But that fourth one he did was not that great.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it's called, but it's not that great. But what did you guys say you were doing next?
Next, I haven't seen it yet. I'm going
Napoleon.
to see it tomorrow. Yes, it's Napoleon.
Interesting. I will be interested to see what you guys think about that movie.
Yeah,
From what I'm gathering, there's like you either hate it or you love it.
The peripheral reviews that I've seen, I haven't like read anything because I want to see it first.
Sure.
Is that like it's the tone is not consistent.
And that's kind of like what I loved about it.
Yeah. And like I'm not opposed to that. Like
I
don't know, like that seems like a fun time where it's like not going to be like there's so many like just here's the life of Napoleon.
Right.
And there you go. It's just a drama war movie,
mm-hmm.
which would be interesting and probably pretty good, but I don't know. I'm excited for it for sure. There was something else I was going to plug and I don't remember what it was.
Oh yeah. You're going to be like on this week's Food for Thought.
Oh yes. That's exactly what it was. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know if I'm supposed
excited.
to. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's this week.
She's advertised it.
Okay,
like the
good.
fast food thing. Yeah.
Yep, fast food bracket, 32 teams.
That's incredibly insane. I'm excited.
Steven and myself determine the best fast food chain.
This is going to be interesting
in America.
Because
would you guys like to make your guesses?
I mean,
on who the winner is.
So it's such a regional thing, I think. I think that
I mean it should be Chick-fil-A, but you know.
That's what I was going to say. Like down here, I think the majority of people would say Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
there's always going to be the idiots that come out and say, "Oh, the Popeyes chicken sandwich is better." It's not. It's not really better. Like Chick-fil-A is consistently good.
Yeah,
like that's my go-to in a normal situation. Like if I'm like just going to go have a chicken sandwich or something, I'm going to Chick-fil-A. That's like where I would go. But from a standpoint of like what would be the best, it's kind of see if it's a hamburger joint or if it's a taco joint, like what's the best? Some people like
and
people
I will say
on
we
the West
had 36 total because we had 4 plans.
Okay. So on the West Coast, I bet people would say In-N-Out.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I don't want no spoilers. I don't want to ruin I don't want to ruin anything. I think oddly for me, what used to be, what is that?
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Look at you.
We talked about that, I feel like, on a recent extra.
We probably did. Yeah. Arby's has always been a good one for me. But we'll see. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what wins. But to me, it's tough because it is a regional, like, I can't imagine you guys coming up with one that was going to be universally loved. It'll be interesting. I'm excited.
It will be interesting. I think it's like a 2-hour-long episode.
Oh, you think she'll break it up?
She said that she wasn't going to.
She's just going to put it all out there.
Put it all out there.
No, I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
I might have to watch
it was a really good time. I had a lot of fun. Tate was on the episode 2 weeks ago.
I
We'll
did
plug
hear
that as
that.
well.
That was a good episode.
Mhm.
The title of the episode was something about service, and
Yeah.
they barely touched on that though.
Yeah.
There wasn't much, but it was still a good episode. I still
Garrison, are you
enjoyed
wearing
listening.
pants?
Nah,
Do you have pants on?
He's got pants on.
I have shorts on.
Okay.
Leave
That
Garrison
shorts are
alone.
fine. Shorts are fine.
Leave Garrett. Look, we awokened him from a deep sleep.
They're like gym shorts, though.
Awoken
Woke him
from a
up.
deep sleep to force him to be on here. He didn't need. I didn't prep him. I didn't other than sending him a link. I didn't prep him that I wanted him on here at all.
Yeah,
so
I got the link and I was kind of confused, and I was like, "What? Whatever." You just
You should know that I'm not David, and I don't just send links without purpose. I only
I'm so
send
used to that.
I only send links when I want something, and I should have prepped you, and I didn't. That's my fault. But anyways, Roth, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Roth from Wyoming. The podcast that I host is mine is the Good Day for a Movie podcast. I don't know if I said that. If you're into Christmas music and you like country music, 1033therange.com 24/7.
Yep.
Added like 40 more songs within the last couple weeks. So
I found myself actually today going to your station because I ran out of podcasts, and that does not happen often.
Wow.
In an 8-hour day, I'm usually listening to 8 hours worth of podcasts every day. But I ended like I had 30 minutes left in the day, and I was like, crap, what do I get? And then I went to your station and listened to it for a little bit.
I've got everything from Gene Autry, Kenny and Dolly to John Party, Cody Johnson. I think there's like 4 She Daisy songs on there, if you remember She Daisy from the 90s.
I do remember She Daisy, actually. I
just added 2 Statler Brothers albums.
Oh, nice.
Their Christmas albums.
I think David would love your station also. But
yeah.
Garrison, since you're here, where can people find you on the interwebs?
You can find me on Twitter at grifen3, GRYFUN3, Instagram as well, Letterboxd at grifen, GRYFUN. I haven't watched as many movies lately. I think I think the last movie I watched was The Marvels, so I got to rectify that soon. But
time is tough when you're working, man. Yeah, you have been. You've been spending time reading, and
reading
there's nothing wrong with
so
that.
much better for you than like
it really is.
Watching movies and TVs, and I just can't do it.
I'm the same way. I can't do it either, and I've wanted to. Like, I don't know. I just can't. But
it's something that I've just resigned myself to be like. The
only
knowledge I'm going to gain is from YouTube videos.
Yeah, me too. I've given up.
And reading Wikipedia.
Yeah.
I do hope some of these things I'm reading eventually get adapted, because that would be cool. But
oh yeah, that would be cool. I've been kind of wanting to read the Pendragon Cycle because I know that's being adapted, and I've heard it's very good, but I just haven't gotten around to it. But
the problem I have with that specific one is that one was rushed, like because of his publisher.
Is that the one that Daily Wire's doing?
That's the one Daily Wire.
So he wrote a trilogy, and it wasn't supposed to be a trilogy. It was supposed to be a little longer, and it was rushed because of his publisher. And then he published 2 books after the trilogy to help kind of make things better.
Sometimes as a publisher, it's good to have that kind of power over your authors. Like, I wish George R. Martin would have a publisher that would encourage him to actually finish his book, but we'll see if that ever actually happens. I am at the Michael Nip on X. I hate saying it, but it's called X, so I'm going to say it. It is what it is.
What's tomorrow on the Deucecast?
Oh man, we kind of phone it in a little bit because we're just kind of treading water a bit to let Dave have time. To let Dave have time to watch a bunch of movies. We do a Islands in the Streaming episode.
Okay.
There is a theme to it, and Dr. Earl actually joins us, which is rare for Islands in the Streaming. So you're going to have like 30-something movies to go look up. Some people have seen, but there's a fun little theme that we do with it. But that does release tomorrow, and then the following week, after Dave has had a chance to see like 5,000 movies, we're going to do our mega final reflections episode of the year. And we're going to get to talk about as much as we possibly can that we've all seen. I saw an awesome documentary today on Barry Sanders called Bye Bye Barry. It's on Amazon Prime. It is good. Like, obviously it's NFL films, but it's still really good. I mean, I think it's a really cool documentary. Barry Sanders, in a way, finally answers the question as to why he retired when he retired.
Here's a trivia question for you.
Okay.
Who did Barry Sanders play his last college game against?
Oh gosh. His last call. Well, it must be Wyoming.
I was about to say, was it
Because
Wyoming?
you're asking it because it must be Wyoming.
Yep. 1988 Holiday Bowl.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, he had obviously won the Heisman. And
it was a really close game, 62-14.
The weirdest thing in the documentary, and I haven't looked it up as to why it happened, but Oklahoma State was playing a game in Tokyo, so he couldn't be at the Heisman ceremony because he was playing a game in Tokyo. And I'm like,
that's crazy.
Why was Oklahoma State? Well, it must have been an exhibition game or something that late in the season. I mean, because the Heisman
Coca-Cola Classic was a regular season NCAA college football game played from 1977 to 1993.
What? That's insane. So he missed. Yeah, he had to miss. I guess it was Oklahoma State drew the straw that year. So they were in Tokyo. So he wasn't even at the
They
ceremony.
beat Texas Tech 45-42.
Yeah, good game.
There were some good teams that played in this.
That is the weirdest thing I've ever heard. Like what?
Notre Dame, Miami in 79.
That's so strange.
Nebraska, K-State in 92.
That's the year. So he beat out Troy Aikman and Rodney Peete to win the Heisman that year. So that was cool to see. But the whole Tokyo thing really threw me off, and I hadn't had a chance to look it up. So that's wild. That is very wild. So all right, let's let Garrison go to bed. Oh, is that the book?
Yeah, it's a novelization. I was going to make a joke. I was going to make a joke that I wish they adapted this one, but
Nice. We will be back next week to talk about Bass Reeves Part 6. I'm excited about the series. It's been a good series. I look forward to continuing to talk about it. Melissa may join us at some point for Bass Reeves. Her work is absolutely crazy for us, or for her. I'm sorry. And she was around for Yellowstone for 1923 and stuff like that. And she really wants to come on. I know she does, but she's also slammed at work right now. So if she can join us maybe for the finale or whenever, I'd love to have her on to get her perspective on the show, because she always adds good commentary to all this stuff. But I really appreciate everybody, even though I know you guys don't watch the show. Garrison hanging out in the chat for a little bit, Brian and Andrew. I know you guys don't watch Bass Reeves at all, so I appreciate you guys at least hanging out in the chat for a little while. But if you have any comments or anything about Bass Reeves, please throw the comments on there. Liking the episode helps us a lot. Turning your notifications helps us a lot. And obviously subscribing to the channel will be huge for us. We're doing Percy Jackson at the end of December. That starts like December 20th. So we'll be starting up with some Percy Jackson towards the end of the year. So really appreciate everybody that watched. And we will see you guys next week. Talk to you later.